Welcome everybody once again to our Sunday morning sitting group. And I'm Trudy. What am I? Increasingly, I wonder. I'm the former guiding teacher. What am I? The founding teacher, that's right, at InsightLA. And with me today is my beloved Jack Kornfield. And I want to thank Bernard for being our moderator, for stepping up to do that. Thank you so much, Bernard, for learning how to do that and contributing in that way. And I wanted to say that some of you know that I've been in Costa Rica where I got quite ill, and I still have to go back to the hospital today. I'm still in Costa Rica having some outpatient treatments. So Jack has joined me because I really don't quite have the energy to teach the whole group today. So we're just going to kind of take turns and do this together. So I want to first just acknowledge, it's interesting to do a land acknowledgement from here in Costa Rica, because Costa Rica is a country that, because it really didn't have, it had gold, but it didn't have some of the oil and other natural resources that its neighbors have. And so it was never conquered. And the indigenous people were not slaughtered to extract the natural resources and things that happened elsewhere. So there's actually a different feeling here in Costa Rica, a kind of pride of people and place. And it has a government that there's no army. They don't pour their resources into the army, and they have a tremendous emphasis on what they call pura vida. Somebody says, "How are you?" And you say, "Pura vida," the pure life. Tremendous emphasis on the environment and protecting the environment. And, every straw is labeled how recycled or biodegradable it is, every package. It's when you are using soaps and cosmetics and things, you don't have to worry that there are a lot of toxic ingredients in them. It's just, it's a bit different vibe here in this country. And so we'll do the usual dividing of our time, about 1/3 meditation, 1/3 teaching, and 1/3 interaction with each other. And Jack will lead the meditation this morning.
Great. Thank you, Vera. Hi, everyone. Glad to see you and very glad to join in and be part of this class. So we'll start with a guided meditation, and it has some of the qualities that we might talk about: invitation for mindful, loving presence with our experience. So let yourself find a way to sit that's stable and comfortable and at ease, where your body can more or less rest for the next
Here, I'm
25 or 30
I'm gonna
minutes.
sit back here.
Sure. And when you found a posture where you can sit that feels stable and present for yourself, if you're comfortable, allow your eyes to close gently, or else lower your gaze. Take a couple of long breaths. Begin just by bringing attention here to this human body, this human incarnation we've been given in a body. And begin with a little bit of relaxation as you settle in. Let your eyes and face be soft. Loosen the jaw. You can roll your head in a little circle if you like to release your neck and let it find a simple upright. Let the shoulders relax and the arms and hands rest easily. Feel the weight of your body and the contact with the seat and the floor, buttocks, legs, feet. And feel that gravity and how the earth both pulls you to her and then completely supports you. Stable, present. Let the belly be soft and the breath natural. And let the heart be soft as well, to receive whatever arises with a spirit of kindness, compassion. Now, with this embodied presence, let's together direct attention almost as if we could go through the foundations of mindfulness together in a gracious way. First, the invitation of mindfulness of the breath and body. Notice how your body is breathing. Wherever it's most obvious, you can sense it. The whole body, or the coolness in the nostrils, the swirling in the back of the throat, or the rise and fall of chest or belly. And with each breath, relax. As Thich Nhat Hanh recommends, you can whisper ease or calm with each breath. And as you let the breath and body calm or settle, and the attention gentle and soft, you can offer an inward bow to your breath, a kind of thank you. Thank you for breathing me. The whole world is breathing you, you know. You don't do it, the world breathes you, keeps you alive. Thank you, breath, for your steadiness and care. Thank you for taking care of me. Let's relax together. And as you become present, if your breath has a message for you, what would it be? a message, a teaching. And now invite the mindful, loving awareness to expand to the whole field of your body. Your body is a field of vibrations and sensations, experienced as warm and cool and pressure and hard and tingling, pleasant and painful. A whole field of experience. Let the mindful, loving awareness allow this living, energetic field of the body be held in kind attention. Notice how it's ever changing subtly, moment by moment. And if your mindful, loving awareness is pulled to some part of the body that wants attention, let it go there. What part of his body is asking for the attention, the loving awareness? You can sense. And bringing a loving attention, kindness to this part of the body. If it has a message for you, something for you to understand, remember, guidance, listen. And as you feel the whole sense of your body, the areas of tightness and the places of ease, the places that hold stress or contraction, the places that can be relaxed. Holding it all with loving awareness. As if to bow to your body, whisper, thank you. Thank you for carrying so much. Thank you for trying to protect me, care for me. A loving gratitude. Thank you for caring so much. I'm okay just now. You can relax. You can relax. I'm okay just here and now. Notice what happens. . Now shift the mindful, loving attention to your heart, the heart of feelings and emotions, and sense how much your heart carries: longing and love, worry and joy, peacefulness, fear, your heart carries grief. It carries beauty and joy. It holds your struggles and hopes, all the emotions and feelings of life: tenderness, courage, anger, dignity. Notice what your heart is carrying, especially now. And if your heart has a message for you, what is it? What would it be? Listen. And being present with loving awareness for all the feelings, letting them all be held, nothing to fix or change, just held in loving awareness, loving presence. And again, as if to bow inwardly to your heart, you can whisper, thank you. Thank you for carrying so much, all these emotions and feelings. Thank you for taking care of me. And notice how your heart responds to this gratitude. And say thank you for all you carry, for taking care and protecting me. I'm okay just now. You can relax. You can rest. I'm okay just here and now. Let the heart soften and rest. And now direct the same mindful, loving awareness to the mind. The busy mind that secretes thoughts the way the salivary gland secretes saliva. It just keeps churning out images and words and plans and stories and memories and explanations and trying to figure things out and understandings, ideas. Feel how busy the mind is. And surround it with a loving presence, a loving awareness. You feel the busyness of mind, and you become the mindful, loving presence that can surround it with kindness. Nothing to fix or change, just a loving awareness holding this mind. And then, as if to whisper softly, you can say to your mind, thank you. Thank you for these thousands of thoughts and ideas and images and all that you do to try to keep me safe, to care for me, to help. Thank you, mind, for all that you do for me. I'm okay just now. You can relax. You can rest. I'm okay just here and now. And invite the mind in a loving way to quiet down, settle, and soften. And then there's the mindful, loving awareness of all our relations and relationships. We rest in a web of connection and relations, from our breath to our family, from our feet on the earth and the air we share, and the shared words and thoughts and connections with the trees and the beings. And relax and feel yourself held in the web of relations with mindful, loving awareness. Rest. Rest in this vast and beautiful web. Trust. You are held by so many dimensions of life. And as you relax into the web of life, you can whisper, thank you. Thank you for caring for me, for holding me as part of you always. Thank you so much. When I feel you, I can relax and trust. I can be at ease in the web of life. And let this mindful, loving awareness, compassion spread, holding yourself and the whole web of life in kind attention. And finally, notice that you are not your body. You are the consciousness, the awareness that noticed all the experiences of this body. You are not your emotions and feelings, the joys and sorrows, the longing and grief and love. You are the loving witness of the heart. You are the awareness that notices. And you are not your mind, thankfully. A good servant, but a poor master, they say. You can be aware of the mind with its stories and images. You are the awareness, the loving witness of it all. And the web of life itself. You are the awareness that knows the web. You are consciousness. This is who you really are. Loving awareness. The loving witness of all the dance of body and mind and life. Relax back into consciousness itself. You are the spacious, loving awareness. The witnessing of it all. Thoughts come and go. Emotions arise and pass away. Sensations and sounds and breath change. Days come and go, and years. and you are the consciousness, the silent, vast, loving witness, loving awareness. Rest in loving awareness. Trust it. It is who you really are. It is home. Now staying with the loving presence that you brought to body, heart, mind. Let your eyes open again and come back from this meditation. And it was like a abbreviated version of a 10-day Vipassana retreat, an invitation to mindful, loving presence in all these dimensions.
Thank you, Jack.
Pleasure.
It's lovely.
Pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah. So last week I just popped in when Thomas was teaching to say hello to you and just to see your faces, and so you could see my face. And as I explained to those of you who were here right at the beginning, I'm still in outpatient treatment at the hospital in Costa Rica. So I'll take it easy today and give a little bit of teaching, and then Jack will take over, and then we'll both be here for just some dialogue with you. And last week I explained that I had been very ill and vulnerable. You're very vulnerable when you're very ill, and especially in the hospital, because the hospital has its routines, and if you stay long enough, your life can adapt to them. But which I feel like I did. I was there almost 10 days, 9 days. And at one point, something didn't happen that usually happened at a certain time. And I felt like a toddler, like, wait a minute, where is this? Where's the nurse? Where's the, you get very sort of open and sensitive and vulnerable when you're in that situation. And one of the things that I talked about very briefly last week was the importance of presence. And I remember somebody asking years ago, a wonderful student question, said, you talk about presence, all of you, all the time. What is presence? What does that even mean? I think we all sense what it means, but presence is really synonymous with mindfulness, with mindful awareness, with the loving awareness that Jack was just talking about. It's being able to be aware of what we're living as we're living it. Being able to bring enough attention to what's going on so that we actually are awake and aware of what's going on as it's happening. And so it sounds, when we put it into words, like maybe it's not that easy, but it's actually it's pretty much what comes naturally to us when we're not lost in thought. And one of the things that was so striking to me was how what a kind of sonar I had for who was really present when they walked into that hospital room and who was distracted, who was giggling with, somebody else, who was who was really there. And the feeling that I had when whoever it was, a patient assistant, so there were two wonderful people who cleaned the room. Whoever it was, a doctor, a nurse, a therapist, respiratory, whoever it was, a blood draw person, you could just feel that quality of presence when they walk in the room, when they interact with you. And it's reassuring. It brings a feeling of connection of, oh, we're humans here together, heart to heart. It sort of breaks down that barrier between being the sick person in the hospital bed and the other person who's coming to take care of you. You're just there together. And I really, I was able to appreciate that a lot. And it made me appreciate our practice and realize that, sure, the practice is not insurance against feeling pain or being upset or discouraged or any of the emotions that we feel when we're vulnerable and in pain. But the practice gives us a way to enter fully into the experience that we're having so that it's really a moment to moment process. And the gift of being able to do that is that all the worries about what might happen next or the traumas of what happened before, they take a back seat to just the livingness, the living tissue, the aliveness of what's happening just in this moment. And there's no question that the nervous system, all of you know who've been in a tough spot physically ever, or emotionally for that matter, there's no question that the nervous system, I guess we call it trauma, it retains memories of these things and reacts accordingly. Jack and I in the evenings in the hospital, you're starting to get ready for the night, which is not the fun time in the hospital. Not that any time is fun, but the night is the worst. And so we started watching a series. We haven't even finished the first season, but the one about Emily Dickinson. It's called Dickinson. Some of you may have seen it. It's really imaginative, very well done, and true historically, but with some really fun, interesting elements that I think make it a more current story. Hopefully, one that teenagers now can relate to a lot. And it's made me look back on and appreciate her poetry at this stage of life, which I hadn't looked at Emily Dickinson's poems for a long time. There was one that I don't know, it's one that I really was relating to last night. This poem was written in 1862, and the historians, the understanding is that she wrote it after a good friend of her brother's had been killed in a battle of the Civil War. So it was really at the height of the Civil War. But I felt I was adapting it to the experience of sort of shock or illness. And it's called After Great Pain. After great pain, a formal feeling comes. The nerves sit ceremonious, like tombs. And the stiff heart questions. Anyway, I'm not going to go on to the whole poem. It's a kind of painful poem, the response to death and mourning. But I loved that phrase of the nerves sit ceremonious, very still, very present, like a tomb holding something that has died. And that feeling of the nerves being in some ceremony or ritual of presence just spoke to me so deeply, because this is how it feels in some way. Like I have to go for wound care, and that's very unpleasant. And my body doesn't like it, and it just kind of stiffens, right? And understanding this as almost a kind of ritual or ceremony. Jack said, well, it's PTSD. I said, no, it's not PTSD because it's still going on. It's post means it's over and then you relive it, right? I don't think it means you're in the middle of it. Anyway, I want to make room for Jack to speak. These are just some thoughts that I was having about presence and mindfulness and the importance of our practice to be able to experience things that we're going through in a fresh and vivid new way, that isn't just covered over with our concepts and with our fears and worries, past and future.
Thank you, dear. Why don't you sit back as you like to, get a little rest, and I'll talk, and then you join again.
Okay.
Yeah, part of the last weeks have been, for me, being present for Trudy and what she's going through and how we're present for each other. And I see our meditation practice as being such a training and a gateway and an empowerment to be able to be present for anything. And I think of retreats that I've taught, and sometimes somebody will start to, mostly they're quiet, everybody's on their good behavior, there's that whole behave right and at least look like you're a good meditator. Who knows what's going on inside? But then someone will break down and just weep and sob, and you can feel the whole room go, oh yeah, as if to hold that person. Or there's another time when something will happen and somebody will start giggling or laughing. And then the whole room sort of sparks, and pretty soon they can't stop it. And the room is giggling away. And I use this as an image because it's the outer expression of what it means to actually sit and be present for ourselves, for all the 10,000 joys and sorrows of our life. And that we have the capacity, our heart is big enough to hold all this, and loving awareness is the field within which it arises. So a couple of reflection questions for you, since the theme from Trudy is presence. When in your life do you feel most present? When in your life do you feel least present? No judgment, just a kind of mindful inquiry. What's the message? What do you learn from this reflection? What does it teach you? Because the quality of presence has also a kind of open-mindedness and inquiry, a discovery to it, which is what you were just doing. Not what's right or wrong, but what's happening and what can we learn when we're present. And in a way, presence is a huge gift. It's a gift to your body or your heart, your mind, but your kids love it when you're present. Children love it. Your pets love it. Your plants love it. Come on. Your partners, your colleagues, the whole damn earth, they love it when you're present. It's really a gift. And in that way, when you listen or reflect on it, you can almost sense that presence is an act of love, that they're so deeply connected. So a poem for you by Stella Nasanovich called Everyday Grace. It can happen like that, meeting at the auto repair, buying tires amidst the smell of rubber, the grating sound of jackhammers and drills. Anywhere we share stories, grace flows between us. The tire center waiting room becomes a healing place as one speaks of her husband's heart valve replacement, bed sores from complications. A man speaks of multiple surgeries, notes his false appearance as strong and healthy. I share my sister's death from breast cancer, her youngest only 7. A woman rises, gives her name, Mrs. Henry, then takes my hand. Suddenly, an ordinary day becomes holy ground. And you can feel in it what it means to bring this quality of presence and heart to one another, to yourself. So presence and love are somehow intertwined. Metta. In India, they say that one of the things that can most change you, if you go to see some great master or guru or teacher or mistress or whatever we're supposed to call them these days, sometimes you get the gift of what's called the glance of mercy, which means that someone looks at you with such presence and so much love. They just see you so deeply. And I don't know how to put it. They love you anyway, given who you are. And this was the gift of Ram Dass toward the end of his life. People would come see him, and he'd been in this wheelchair for 20 years and his body was in a lot of pain and he had regular infections and, people had to pick him up and wipe his bottom and all those things. And he would look at people. He said, all that's left for me is love. He would look at people with so much love. They say, oh, yeah, but I'm in the midst of a divorce, or I had this affair, I messed up, I lost my company, there are problems, or someone close to them died, or the beautiful things. And he would hear all that and he would say, yeah, And he would look with so much love just at who you were, that secret beauty underneath it all. And that's really the great gift of presence that we offer each other. It also has the quality that Trudy talked about of beginner's mind. We come with all our assumptions and ideas, and we always do. I do too, and where things are going and who somebody is. And Sharon Salzberg told me this story. She was in India and she'd been there a couple of years doing really long, intense meditation retreats, got very, very deep. And then somebody gave her the relatively new book from Zen Master Suzuki Roshi called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. And she picked it up, looked at the cover and said, oh, I'm not a beginner, and tossed it aside. Only later, when she opened it and read the passage that said, the goal of meditation, the end of meditation, is always to keep our beginner's mind. Did she realize the depth of what was articulated, offered by Suzuki Roshi? But the fact is that with loving presence, we really don't know. We can't so much figure it out and get, dot the I's and cross the T's and have a kind of certainty. My teacher, Ajahn Chah, used to always laugh and say, it's uncertain, isn't it? You might as well get used to it. You might as well live with it. And then you have beginner's mind. Somerset Maugham, the amazing writer, said that there are 3 rules for writing the great English novel. Unfortunately, he went on, no one knows what they are. And that's really our predicament. We can work on the novel, but we have to braille our way, find our way through it. Also, to be present is dangerous, because to be present means you actually have to experience life. You can't hide in fantasy and avoidance and things that they have their place. I don't mean to judge them all. I love fantasy and I'm into avoidance in the right moment as well. But you don't want to miss the boat, the train, the life. Mary Oliver, she says, to live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it. And when the time comes to let it go, to let it go. And that's the dangerous part. It's a dangerous part of love, because you're loving what's mortal. You're loving what changes, and you do it anyway, because what else matters? Really, in the end, when you sit with people at the end of life, what else matters? Did I love? Did I love well? And even little reminders can kind of wake us up and bring us back, when the Colombian government was trying to figure out a way to negotiate with the FARC and the rebels who had been fighting from the jungles for almost 50 years in Colombia. The country was divided and in turmoil from the revolutionaries and the government in kind of conflict. One of the things they did is they took a couple of helicopters and flew over parts of the jungle where they knew that the rebels were living. And they dropped out of the helicopter photographs of the family members of the rebels that they knew of. Members that they may not have seen for 10 years in the jungle. A child growing up, a husband or a wife, a spouse, a brother or sister. They dropped pictures of their family. And it made a difference. It made a difference in starting to see outside that box of the revolution and who was right, to see again with a different kind of presence that here we are, all kind of struggling. Sometimes we pass the course, sometimes we flunk the course. In the end, you will be examined on love, says the poet. That's the final blue book. So even a little reminder, and you go, oh yeah, I can be present for this. Or I can be present for them, or this place, or this. There's a beautiful question that my friend Frank Ostaseski, founder of Zen Center Hospice, puts this way. He said, when you get quiet and get present for your life, then you can ask this question: what would love have me do today? What would love have me do today? And there's the love for yourself and this amazing life you've been given that you're supposed to take care of and enjoy and love. Mindful self-compassion has become this whole big, wonderful thing, and it's taught at InsightLA in all these ways and so forth. What would love have me do for myself today? What would love have me do for the community, for the earth? What would love have me do today? I'm so glad that InsightLA is being reborn and resurrected. We're going to be reopening Olympic. We've got a new website that will be coming. We've got teachers coming back in all kinds of ways. And it really feels like we went through a very hard period and almost lost ourselves. And then the force of the community, and it feels like the love of what people have learned at InsightLA and how we've supported each other over these years. And then a few wonderful people who've been part of it, like Maria Egan, who started the first GoFundMe to, hey, let's get us out of the hole and let's start again. And Melissa and so forth have come together. And by their spark, everyone said, yes, this matters. We care. You've shown us how we can get back in the game. That's all people needed. The love was there, and it just needed that channel and that presence. And it makes me so happy that it's getting reborn. One of my old Zen masters used to say, death, okay. Rebirth, okay, too. That's how we live.